Breaking news tonight. President Donald Trump is making headlines again, but this time not as a leader of the people, rather as a businessman chasing his own legacy. Critics across the nation say Trump is governing not with the heart of a statesman, but with the calculation of a deal maker whose only interest is his own place in history. Sources close to the White House confirm that Trump's latest maneuvers are designed to project himself as a global peacemaker, with whispers circulating that he has his eye on the Nobel Peace Prize. He speaks less about jobs, wages, or health care, and more about how no one in history has done what I've done. His words echo not as promises to citizens, but as sales pitches for his personal brand. The American people are beginning to notice. Families in Ohio, farmers in Iowa, and workers in Michigan are asking a simple question. While the president obsesses over his legacy, who is obsessing over us? Grocery bills are climbing, small businesses are closing, and the cost of living is pushing families to the edge. Yet Trump's attention seems fixed not on kitchen tables, but on history books. Democratic firebrand Jasmine Crockett wasted no time addressing the issue. Speaking before reporters, she thundered, "Trump isn't fighting for America. He's fighting for a statue, a headline, and a prize with his name on it. Ordinary Americans need stability, not a president chasing applause." As the story unfolds, one thing becomes clear. This is no longer about policy, but about personality, about ego. And the question now gripping America is whether one man's hunger for glory could cost an entire nation its future. Donald Trump has always branded himself as a businessman, a deal maker, a man who wins. But in the Oval Office, that mentality has taken a darker turn. Instead of focusing on building up American families, Trump has been fixated on building his personal legacy. His aides whisper of endless conversations about how history will remember me, while his speeches increasingly sound like advertisements for his greatness rather than plans for the people. At a recent rally, Trump declared, "I will be remembered as the greatest peacemaker in history." His words sparked applause from loyalists, but also stunned observers who saw a president more obsessed with his name than his nation. Foreign dignitaries quietly note that Trump's negotiations often stall because he prioritizes photo opportunities over actual progress. It is theater, not governance. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans feel the weight of his neglect. Infrastructure crumbles, healthcare costs soar, and wages stagnate. But Trump is not speaking about these crises. He is speaking about awards, titles, and legacies. To him, America is not a country to serve, but a stage to perform on. Jasmine Crockett put it bluntly, "This president is auditioning for the history books while Americans are drowning in debt. He doesn't want to solve problems. He wants to polish his ego." Her statement resonated across social media, where citizens mocked Trump's obsession with the Nobel Peace Prize, calling it a trophy hunt while the House is on fire. The divide between Trump's ambitions and America's needs has never been clearer. He is a businessman chasing a deal with destiny, while the people he was elected to serve are left holding the bill. While Trump's gaze remains fixed on world stages and historic prizes, the reality at home paints a grim picture. Inflation is eating away at paychecks. Parents are struggling to afford basic school supplies, and workers are being laid off as industries buckle under trade disputes. Yet the White House remains curiously silent on these issues. In Ohio, a mother of 3 told local reporters, "I don't care if Trump gets a Nobel Prize. I just want to buy groceries without maxing out my credit card." In Michigan, auto workers face layoffs as tariffs cut into supply chains. In Texas, Farmers lose contracts while Trump brags about historic deals abroad. The disconnect between the president's ego-driven agenda and the daily struggles of his citizens has reached a breaking point. Cable news runs split screens. On one side, Trump shaking hands with foreign leaders, smiling for cameras. On the other, American families lining up at food banks. The contrast is striking, almost surreal. Jasmine Crockett capitalized on the imagery. Speaking at a town hall in Detroit, she said, "Donald Trump wants his name carved in history. But the only thing Americans want carved is the turkey at Thanksgiving without wondering how they'll pay for it. He doesn't understand us because he's never lived like us. He's not our president. He's his own brand manager." Ordinary Americans don't dream of trophies. They dream of stability. They don't ask for statues. They ask for safety. And every day that Trump pursues glory abroad, the forgotten people at home wonder how long they can survive without real leadership. By now, Jasmine Crockett had become the sharpest thorn in Trump's side. Her speeches, fiery and relentless, painted him as a self-absorbed businessman masquerading as a president. At a press conference in Washington, she declared, "Trump is treating America like one of his casinos. Risky bets, flashy headlines, and when it collapses, it's the people who pay the price. He doesn't want to serve this country. He wants to sell it, package it, and put his name on it like another Trump Tower." Her words hit hard. Networks replayed the clip endlessly, and hashtags like "Trump the businessman" and "Ego over America" trended nationwide. Even political analysts noted that Crockett had struck a chord with millions of Americans who felt abandoned by a president more concerned with winning a peace prize than with winning the battle against poverty, inflation, and unemployment. Trump, never one to back down, lashed out on social media, calling Crockett a loser who doesn't understand greatness. But his attacks only amplified her message. She responded with a line that instantly went viral. "I don't want a president who wants to be great. I want a president who wants Americans to be okay." The battle lines were drawn: Trump versus Crockett, ego versus empathy, and the nation watched, waiting to see which vision of America would prevail. As Trump traveled abroad, basking in photo ops and chasing applause from world leaders, the American people bore the brunt of his neglect. At international summits, Trump spoke proudly of historic achievements and hinted at a Nobel Prize within reach. Yet back home, headlines told a different story: food shortages, rising medical debt, and a housing crisis spiraling out of control. Images of Trump smiling next to foreign dignitaries contrasted sharply with footage of Americans waiting in unemployment lines. For ordinary citizens, the message was clear: the president was not leading them. He was leaving them. Jasmine Crockett drove the point home. Trump wants to be remembered as a man of peace, but he is at war with his own people's wallets. While he shakes hands overseas, Americans are emptying their savings just to stay afloat. He thinks history will write his story as a triumph. I think history will write it as a tragedy. The global stage gave Trump the attention he craved, but at a devastating cost: the trust of his own people. Each foreign handshake became a symbol of his distance from the Americans he was supposed to serve. As weeks passed, cracks in Trump's narrative began to show. Rumors swirled inside Washington that even his closest advisors were growing frustrated with his obsession over awards and accolades. Anonymous leaks described a president spending hours discussing how future textbooks would portray him while neglecting briefings on domestic crises. Media outlets reported growing discontent in rural America, the very heart of Trump's base. Farmers and truck drivers began turning against him, complaining that their struggles were ignored while Trump obsessed over his image. Talk radio hosts asked, "Is the president working for us or for his own ego?" Crockett seized on the unrest. "Every day we learn more about a president who wants to be worshipped, not remembered for service. He wants monuments, not solutions. He wants history books, not policy books." The rumors of division grew louder. Analysts speculated whether Trump's ego could collapse not only his presidency, but the nation itself. The climax came with a speech from Jasmine Crockett that would be remembered as her defining moment. Standing before a crowd of thousands, she declared, "Donald Trump is a businessman chasing trophies. But America is not a trophy. America is a family. And families need safety, stability, and a future. Trump wants a Nobel Prize, parents want affordable groceries, Trump wants to be written into history, workers just want to be paid on time. Trump wants a statue, families want a roof that doesn't leak." That is the difference between ego and empathy. That is the difference between him and us. The crowd erupted in applause, their chants drowning out the noise of politics. Across television screens, the message was clear. Americans were tired of a president who governed for himself. They wanted a leader who governed for them. Crockett's closing line became an anthem. History will not remember the prizes Trump chased. It will remember the people who rose up and said, "Enough." And with that, the broadcast ended. A nation left to decide whether it would continue to follow the path of ego or choose the path of empathy.